The silver starship glided through space like a silent fish in dark waters. Zara stood at the viewing window, her blue skin reflecting the distant stars. Her 6 fingers tapped nervously against the glass as Earth grew larger in the distance. No alien from the Galactic Council had spent a full Earth year among humans before most observers stayed for weeks, then left claiming humans were too unpredictable, too emotional to join advanced space civilizations. Zara was determined to be different, to truly understand these strange beings who had mastered space travel centuries before anyone expected. She smoothed down her uniform designed to look like human clothes, though the fabric was made of living material that adjusted to her body temperature. Her silver eyes blinked, their second eyelids closing briefly as she rehearsed her cover story. She was a visiting scientist interested in Earth biology, nothing more. The ship captain approached her. "Ambassador Zara, we will dock at New Pacific Station. In 20 minutes, your Earth liaison will meet you there." "Thank you, Captain," she replied, her translator converting her musical language into flat English sounds. She gathered her few possessions, her mind racing with all the warnings she'd received. Humans are dangerous, unpredictable. They look harmless, but they adapt too quickly. Their emotions cloud their judgment. Do not become attached. The docking sequence began with a gentle shudder. Zara took a deep breath, filling her secondary lungs, then releasing it slowly. She was ready for her people, for science. For the future of galactic relations, she would study humans objectively. New Pacific Station orbited Earth like a shining wheel. Its curved hallways bustled with humans and the few alien species who had established diplomatic relations. Zara followed the captain through security, her identification chip scanning easily. The gravity felt slightly stronger than she was used to, making her movements careful and deliberate. A human woman waited beyond the security gate. She was small by human standards, with dark brown skin and curly black hair cut short. Her smile revealed white teeth, a feature Zara found mildly unsettling since her species had blue teeth hidden behind silver lips. "Ambassador Zara," the woman said, extending her hand in human greeting. "I'm Olivia Clark, your liaison from Earth Science Division. Welcome to New Pacific." Zara mimicked the handshake, careful not to press too hard with her stronger muscles. "Thank you, Dr. Clark. I look forward to our work together. Call me Olivia, please." Olivia led her through the busy corridor, explaining various features of the station. Most humans looked at Zara with open curiosity. Some smiled, others whispered behind their hands. A few children pointed until their parents stopped them. Zara cataloged every reaction in her mental notes. "Your temporary quarters are in the diplomatic wing," Olivia explained. "Tomorrow we'll travel to Earth to the research facility in the northern region, humans call Canada. There you can begin your observations." The diplomatic quarters were larger than Zara expected. The room adjusted its light and temperature automatically as she entered. A large window showed Earth spinning slowly below its blues, and greens reminded her of home, though her planet had 2 small moons instead of Earth's. Single large one. Zara unpacked her few possessions, including the secure communication device that would allow her to send encrypted reports to the Council. She placed her hand on the smooth surface, activating it with her unique bioelectric pattern first impression report. She spoke softly. "Station technology less advanced than expected, but functional. Humans show excessive curiosity. Limited control of offspring. Social hierarchies apparent but fluid. Will report more after reaching Earth facility." She deactivated the device and hid it inside her clothing case. Earth might be less technologically advanced than her homeworld, but she knew humans were resourceful. They had survived numerous planetary disasters and still reached space. Their history was filled with violence, yet also great leaps of scientific discovery. The Council found them fascinating and terrifying. After resting, Zara met Olivia for the journey to Earth. They boarded a small transport ship designed for atmospheric entry. Zara strapped herself into the seat, listening as Olivia explained the safety procedures. The transport broke through Earth's atmosphere with mild, high turbulence. Zara watched through the window as clouds parted, revealing vast forests, lakes, and mountains below. The landing was smoother than she expected. another sign that humans had mastered certain technologies faster than anticipated. The research facility sprawled across a clearing surrounded by tall green trees. Snow covered the ground, making everything look clean and bright. Zara followed Olivia into the main building, her environmental suit adjusting to keep her warm in the unfamiliar. Cold scientists of various specialties waited inside to meet her. Some wore white lab coats, others dressed in casual Earth clothes. They introduced themselves one by one, their names difficult for Zara to remember. All except one. A tall male human stood slightly apart from the others. His hair was the color of Earth's wheat fields, his eyes blue like parts of the ocean Zara had seen from space. He watched her with an intensity different from the others. Not just curiosity, but something deeper, more analytical. "This is Jake Mason," Olivia said. "Our lead xenobiologist. He'll be working most closely with you during your stay." Jake stepped forward, offering his hand. Zara took it, noting the warmth of his skin against hers. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador." His voice was deeper than Olivia's, resonating in a way that made Zara's sensitive. Hearing membranes vibrate pleasantly. "Thank you, Dr. Mason," she replied. "Jake, please." He corrected. "We're informal here." Zara nodded. Accepting this cultural difference, the council would disapprove. They believed strict formality maintained proper distance from research subjects, but she was here to learn human ways. Jake gave her a tour of the research facilities, showing her laboratories where humans studied everything, from Earth plants to samples from other worlds. He explained their current projects with enthusiasm, his hands moving expressively as he spoke. Zara noticed other humans watching him with respect. His status in their hierarchy seemed high. "Your private laboratory has been prepared," he said, finally leading her to a room with equipment similar to what she used at home. "We adapted it based on specifications from your government." "Is it suitable?" Zara examined the setup, impressed by the human's attention to detail. "It is more than adequate," she said. "I appreciate the effort." Jake smiled. The first genuine human smile directed at her. Not out of obligation or diplomacy, but apparent pleasure at her approval. Something fluttered in Zara's secondary heart, a sensation she quickly suppressed. For the next week, Zara settled into a routine. She worked alongside human scientists, learning their methods, sharing only what the council permitted about her own people's science. Each night she sent encrypted reports, analyzing human behavior, research capabilities, and potential threats or benefits to galactic society. The humans worked hard, longer hours than her people would consider healthy. They consumed strange stimulants called coffee and tea to maintain their energy. They laughed often, even during serious work, a behavior Zara found confusing at first. But gradually she began to understand their humor, their ways of releasing tension through social bonding. Jake visited her laboratory daily, sometimes bringing specimens for her to examine, sometimes just asking questions about her impressions of Earth. He seemed genuinely interested in her perspective, never dismissing her observations the way some other humans did. His questions were thoughtful, challenging her to think beyond her training. One evening, as Zara prepared to return to her quarters, Jake appeared at her door. "Some of us are gathering at the observation deck to watch the aurora," he said. "It's particularly strong tonight. Thought you might find it interesting." Zara hesitated. Social gatherings were not part of her research parameters, yet understanding human social dynamics was essential to her mission. "I would like that," she said finally. The observation deck had glass walls and ceiling, offering an unobstructed view of the night sky. Several humans gathered in small groups, talking quietly, drinking beverages. Jake led Zara to a spot away from the others. "Look," he said, pointing upward. Green and purple lights danced across the black sky, shifting and flowing like living things. Zara stared, transfixed. Her planet had no such phenomenon. It's caused by solar particles interacting with Earth's magnetic field, Jake explained. But explanations don't capture how it makes us feel. "How does it make you feel?" Zara asked, curious about this human concept of separating scientific understanding from emotional response. "Connected," Jake said softly. "To something larger than myself. Something ancient and beautiful that existed before humans." and will exist after we're gone. Zara looked at him surprised by the philosophical nature of his answer. The council believed humans were primarily concerned with conquest and material gain, not existential contemplation. Perhaps they had miscategorized this species as they watched the lights. Jake asked her questions about her homeworld, questions no human had asked before, not about technology or resources, but about beauty. What did her people find beautiful? What natural wonders did her planet offer? She found herself speaking more freely than her training allowed, describing the floating crystal formations that caught light from her planet's twin suns, the migration of airborne creatures that filled the skies once each cycle, the deep singing. Caves where sound became visible as patterns of light. Jake listened with genuine interest, occasionally asking questions that showed he was truly attempting to understand a world he had. Weeks passed and Zara found herself adapting to Earth rhythms. The research facility became familiar, its white halls and busy laboratories no longer strange to her. She learned the names of most humans she worked with, memorized their habits, and preferences began to predict their behaviors. Jake remained the most fascinating subject of her unofficial study. He worked with focused intensity, yet always found time to explain Earth concepts she struggled with. He never seemed frustrated by her. Questions never treated her as an outsider. Most importantly, he shared knowledge freely, a behavior her people considered dangerous. One morning, Jake found her in the botanical laboratory where she studied Earth plant samples. The director approved. "Our field expedition," he said, eyes bright with excitement. "We leave tomorrow for the rainforest." Zara blinked both eyelids, showing her surprise. The council had restricted her movements to the research facility and surrounding area. Travel to other Earth regions required special permission, which she hadn't requested. "Is this necessary for research?" she asked carefully. Jake nodded. "It's impossible to understand Earth ecosystems from samples alone. You need to experience them. The rainforest is one of our most complex biomes, home to more species than we've fully cataloged." Zara hesitated, calculating risks. The council might disapprove, yet the scientific value seemed significant. She could claim the humans insisted, making refusal suspicious. "I will prepare for the journey," she said finally. The next day, a small transport vessel carried Zara. Jake and 3 other scientists. Southward Earth looked different from this perspective, its vast oceans and green landmasses stretching beyond vision. The pilot explained they were heading to a region called Amazon, once threatened by human activity, now protected and partially restored. Their destination was a small research outpost built on stilts above the forest floor. When they landed, Zara felt the difference immediately. The air was heavy with moisture, carrying scents her sensors could barely process. The sounds were constant: birds, insects, creatures hidden among dense vegetation. Her environmental suit adjusted rapidly, maintaining her ideal temperature despite the humid heat. Jake watched her reaction with interest. "Overwhelming, isn't it?" he said. "It's why we still maintain physical outposts in these regions. Remote sensing can't capture everything." They settled into the small facility, unpacking equipment and preparing for several days of fieldwork. The other scientists, Kelly, Diane, and Marcus, quickly established a routine. Zara noticed how efficiently humans adapted to new environments, a survival trait that explained much about their rapid advancement. The following morning, they ventured into the forest itself. Zara followed Jake along narrow paths, her eyes constantly moving, trying to process the riot of green life surrounding them. Plants grew upon plants. Some trees reached incredible heights, their canopies creating a distant ceiling that filtered sunlight into dappled patterns. Creatures moved in the shadows, some watching the visitors with wary eyes. Jake stopped frequently, collecting samples, taking measurements, explaining features unique to this ecosystem. Zara recorded everything, not just the scientific data, but the way humans interacted with their environment. They showed respect, but not fear. Curiosity, but not destructive intrusion. Their approach to research was more hands-on than her people's methodology, which relied heavily on remote observation and computer modeling. Midday, they reached a small clearing beside a waterfall. The other scientists spread equipment across rocks, preparing to collect water samples. And aquatic organisms. Jake gestured for Zara to follow him closer to the falling water. Listen, he said, closing his eyes. Each environment on Earth has its own sound signature. This one is particularly complex. Zara activated her auditory enhancement, filters separating layers of sound. She identified bird calls, insect vibrations, water impacts, plant movements, air currents, and dozens of other sources beyond her classification system. The combination created patterns similar to mathematical sequences her people used in certain technologies. This is remarkable, she said. The acoustic complexity exceeds expected parameters. Jake smiled. That was almost poetic coming from you. She tilted her head, confused. I'm not familiar with poetry as a scientific concept. It's not scientific exactly. Jake hesitated, searching for words. It's how humans express subjective experiences, feelings, perspectives, using language patterns that evoke emotional responses. Zara considered this. Poetry is communication designed to trigger emotions rather than transmit data. Something like that, Jake laughed. It's hard to explain to someone whose culture prioritizes objective observation. His comment stirred something uncomfortable in Zara. My people experience emotions, she said. We simply control them more efficiently than humans. Jake studied her expression. Do you? I sometimes wonder if control and suppression are different things. Before she could respond, Kelly called them back to the main group. They had discovered something unusual in the water samples, microscopic organisms with unexpected properties. For 3 days, the team explored the rainforest, collecting data that would take months to fully analyze. Zara found herself increasingly comfortable in this chaotic environment. Her nightly reports to the council became longer, more detailed, filled with observations about Earth biodiversity and human research methods. She made no mention of personal conversations or growing familiarity with individual humans. Such details were irrelevant to her mission. On their final evening at the outpost, the humans gathered on the observation platform built into the canopy. The forest stretched in all directions, a vast ocean of green life beneath a sky turning purple with approaching night. Insects began their evening chorus, creating waves of sound that rose and fell in patterns. The other scientists discussed their findings, exchanging theories about evolutionary pathways and adaptation mechanisms. Jake sat slightly apart, watching the sunset. Zara joined him, maintaining appropriate distance. You've been quiet today, he observed. Zara considered her response. I have much to process. This environment contains more variables than anticipated. Jake nodded. The rainforest tends to have that effect on people, makes us realize how much we don't know, how much we may never know. He paused, looking directly at her. Your reports to the council, are they favorable toward Earth? Zara stiffened. How did you? We're not completely naive about your mission, Jake said softly. The council sent observers before you. Some were less discreet. Your government wants to determine if humans are ready for full galactic membership, or if we pose a threat requiring containment. She should deny everything. Protocol demanded immediate disengagement from any human who suspected her true purpose. Yet something in Jake's expression stopped her. He wasn't angry or accusatory, merely curious. Perhaps even concerned. My reports are factual, she said finally. I observe, I document, I transmit. But do you interpret? He pressed. Does the council want facts or conclusions? Both, she admitted. The council will form its own judgment based on my observations and those of others. Jake turned back to the sunset. Earth science thrives on peer review. Multiple perspectives, open debate. Even opposing viewpoints contribute to knowledge. It's messy sometimes, but it works. Zara recognized the subtle message he was suggesting. Her people's approach might be flawed. That singular observation without diverse perspectives created incomplete understanding. Our methods have served us for millennia, she said. And yet here you are studying us, not the other way around. Jake smiled to soften his words. Why is that, Zara? The question lingered, between them unanswerable without revealing information. She wasn't authorized to share. The council feared human potential. Their rapid development from planetary civilization to space exploration had occurred in less than 500 years apace, unprecedented in galactic history. Some council members believed humans should be guided slowly into galactic society. Others advocated for containment, limiting human expansion until they proved less volatile, less ambitious. The real answer was simple. The council feared what they didn't understand, and humans were perhaps the least understandable species they had encountered. "Your species is young," she said finally. "Still evolving. Still finding your place." "And yours isn't," Jake asked. "We reached stability. Long ago our path is established as stability, the same as stagnation." He wondered aloud, looking at the vibrant life surrounding them. Life that constantly adapted, changed, evolved in response to challenges. His question disturbed her more than she wanted to admit. The implied criticism of her civilization struck deeper than expected. Was he right? Had her people's pursuit of perfect order come at the cost of growth? Had they stopped evolving while claiming superiority? Their conversation was interrupted when Diane called everyone together to observe a rare nocturnal creature moving through distant trees. The moment passed, but Jake's question remained lodged in Zara's mind, refusing classification or dismissal. That night she composed her regular report but hesitated before transmission. For the first time she questioned what details to include, what conclusions to suggest. Should she mention Jake's insight about multiple perspectives? Should she admit that human research methodologies showed unexpected sophistication? Or would such observations prejudice the Council against Earth, making them more likely to recommend containment? The celebration for Olivia's research achievement was held in a common room, transformed with soft lighting and decorations. Plants from the botanical lab created natural dividers between seating areas. Music played at low volume, a melody Zara found surprisingly pleasant, despite her unfamiliarity with Earth harmonics. Humans gathered in small groups, talking, laughing, sharing food and drinks. Zara observed from a quiet corner, cataloging behaviors. The gathering seemed chaotic, without assigned seating or formal schedule, yet everyone appeared comfortable with this randomness. She noted how humans moved between groups, maintaining multiple social connections. Simultaneously, a behavior her people would find exhausting. Jake appeared beside her, offering a glass with clear liquid earth water is safe for your physiology, he said. Our medical team confirmed it. Zara accepted the glass, careful not to touch his fingers. "Thank you," she said. He gestured toward the room. "What do you think of our celebration rituals?" Zara considered her response. "They appear inefficient for information exchange, yet effective for strengthening social bonds." Jake laughed. "That perfectly scientific assessment is exactly what I expected." He leaned against the wall, beside her, close but not uncomfortably so. For humans, celebration isn't about efficiency. It's about shared experience, joy, appreciation of each other, shared experience. She repeated, testing the concept. My people celebrate achievements but with more structure. Each participant has a designated role, specific words to say, predictable outcomes. Sounds more like a ceremony than a celebration. Jake observed. Where's the spontaneity? The unexpected connections? Zara had no answer. Her people's gatherings followed protocols established centuries ago, never changing, never evolving. Suddenly, she wondered if Jake was right. If her civilization had confused stability with stagnation. Olivia approached them, her face flushed with what Zara recognized as human happiness ambassador. She said, "I hope you're enjoying our little party." "Very educational," Zara replied. "And congratulations on your research breakthrough." Olivia smiled warmly. "Thank you, though I couldn't have done it without the team." She turned to Jake. "The director wants to speak with you." "Something about the new funding proposal?" Jake nodded. "Excuse me," he said to Zara. "I'll be back soon, alone with Olivia." Zara felt momentary discomfort. She had spent most of her Earth time with Jake, rarely interacting with other humans without his presence. "You and Jake have become quite close," Olivia remarked, watching the xenobiologist cross the room. "We work well together," Zara said carefully. "He explains Earth concepts effectively." Olivia's expression suggested she heard more than Zara's words. Just be careful, she said softly. Jake is brilliant and kind, but he can be idealistic about interspecies relations. Not everyone at the facility shares his openness. Before Zara could ask what she meant, Olivia was called away. The warning lingered uncomfortable and unclear. Was Olivia concerned about Jake or about Zara herself? The implication that their professional relationship might be viewed negatively by other humans was troubling. Zara moved through the gathering, observing more closely. She noticed subtle patterns she'd missed before. Certain humans watched her with expressions she now recognized as suspicion or distrust. Others seemed deliberately welcoming, perhaps overcompensating for colleagues' discomfort. The humans were not unified in their attitude toward her presence. The realization shouldn't have surprised her, yet somehow it did. Jake returned, finding her near a display of Earth art. Ambassador, he said, formally aware of others nearby. Director Campbell would like to meet with you tomorrow morning at 0900 to discuss expanding your research access. Zara nodded, acknowledging both his words and his careful tone. I will be prepared, she said. The gathering continued for several more hours. Zara remained the appropriate amount of time recording observations for her report. Then she returned to her quarters to process the evening's events. The next morning, she met with Director Campbell, a stern woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. The director's office contained few personal items, only credentials and awards suggesting a personality focused on achievement and recognition. Ambassador Zara Campbell began your work. Here has impressed our science team. Your insights regarding our botanical research have proven particularly valuable. The director folded her hands on the desk. We would like to offer you expanded access to our facilities, including our genetics laboratory and quantum computing center. Zara maintained neutral expression while calculating possibilities. The council had specifically restricted her from these areas, fearing human genetic research might advance too quickly if given access to alien perspectives. Yet refusal would seem suspicious. I appreciate the offer, Director Campbell, she said. Such access would enhance my understanding of Earth science. The director nodded, but she made no move to provide access credentials. Instead, she studied Zara with unnerving focus. Ambassador, may I speak frankly? Please, Zara said, though internal alarms activated. We know the Galactic Council has concerns about humanity, Campbell said. Her direct approach startled Zara. We know observers like yourself are sent to assess our development rate, our potential threat level, our readiness for expanded relations. This is not your fault. You follow your orders as any good diplomat would. Zara remained silent, neither confirming nor denying. The situation had moved beyond her training parameters. What you may not realize, Campbell continued, is that each observer provides us with information too, not just through what they share, but through what they withhold. Through their questions, their focus, their priorities. She leaned forward slightly. We learn about the council by studying its representatives, just as you learn about us. The director's insight was disturbing. Zara had not considered that her presence itself might reveal council strategies and concerns. Her mission might be compromised simply by her being here, regardless of what information she shared or withheld. What is your point, Director? She asked finally. My point, Ambassador, is that honesty might serve both our peoples better than this diplomatic dance. We offer you genuine access to our research. Your reports to the Council become more accurate. The Council makes decisions based on complete information rather than fragments and assumptions. Everyone benefits. The proposal was both logical and dangerous. The Council expected filtered information, expected Zara to protect certain knowledge from human access. Yet the director suggested a more equal exchange. I must consider your proposal. Zara said, of course. Campbell smiled, though the expression didn't reach her eyes. Take all the time you need. The offer remains open. She stood, indicating the meeting was concluded. One more thing, Ambassador. Our facilities contain numerous security systems, some visible, some not. I trust you understand my meaning. The warning was clear. The humans were watching her as Carefully as she watched them, Zara left the director's office, her mind racing with implications. She needed to communicate with the council immediately to report this development, to request guidance. But something stopped her. Some new instinct that whispered caution. What if the council ordered her immediate withdrawal? What if they decided humans were too perceptive, too dangerous? What if her reports resulted in containment protocols? She found herself walking to Jake's laboratory instead of returning to her quarters. The need to process this new information with someone she trusted overrode protocol. For the first time since arriving on Earth, Zara acknowledged the truth. She trusted Jake more than her council superiors. A dangerous realization. Jake was alone examining cellular samples when she entered. His face brightened at her appearance. How did the meeting go? Zara closed the laboratory door, an unusual action that made Jake raise his eyebrows. "Your director knows why I'm here," she said bluntly. "She knows the council sent me to assess humanity." Jake sighed, settling onto a stool. "It's not surprising, really. Your government isn't as subtle as they believe. Several observers came before you, each asking similar questions, focusing on similar technologies. Why didn't you tell me?" Zara asked. "Would you have believed me?" Jake countered. "Or would you have reported my suspicions to your superiors, triggering diplomatic incidents?" He was right. Of course, early in her mission, she would have reported everything, viewed his awareness as a threat. Now she wasn't sure what to believe or who to trust. "The director offered me expanded access to your genetics and quantum computing research," Zara said. "What does she expect in return?" Jake met her. "Gaze truth, probably. The same thing most scientists want. She knows you're holding back information, sharing carefully selected knowledge, maintaining the council's advantage." The implied criticism stung because it was accurate. The council's policy of controlled information sharing ensured technological superiority, maintaining power imbalance in their favor. Was that truly protection or something less honorable? "Your people don't trust us," Jake continued. "And honestly, many humans don't trust your council either. We've studied the patterns of contact, the selective technology sharing, the careful management of our expansion, the subtle discouragement of certain research directions." His awareness of council strategies alarmed Zara. "The humans were more perceptive than anyone had reported. I should return to my quarters," she said. She needed time to think away from Jake's unsettling insights. He stood blocking her path, not threateningly, but with purpose. "Wait," he said. "There's something you should see, something I wasn't authorized to share until now." 3 days passed with Zara avoiding both the council and Jake. She maintained her research schedule, working alongside other scientists, but revealed nothing of her internal conflict. Each night she prepared reports but transmitted none, saving them in encrypted files while she considered her options. The council would expect regular communications. Their silence suggested they were giving her space to complete her mission, or perhaps they were busy with other matters. Either way, the reprieve wouldn't last forever. Soon they would demand updates, explanations, decisions. On the 4th morning, her communication device activated with an incoming message, not from the council, but from her direct supervisor, Ambassador Krell. A face similar to hers appeared on the small screen, though his skin was deeper blue. His eyes more silver. "Ambassador," Zara, Krell said formally. "The council notes your communication silence." "Explain," Zara composed herself, hiding turmoil behind professional demeanor. "Communications. Security may be compromised," she said. Choosing words carefully, "I detected monitoring systems and delayed transmission until verification." Krell's eyes narrowed. "Have the humans interfered with your mission?" "No," she said quickly. "They have been cooperative, within expected parameters. Then why withhold reports?" "Research complexity requires additional analysis before conclusions can be transmitted," she said. The statement wasn't entirely false. Her discoveries about potential council experiments did require analysis. But the lie of omission felt heavy, unfamiliar. "The council grows concerned about your extended Earth assignment." Krell said, "Human influence can be subtle, contaminating. Observe and report. Do not engage. Remember your training. Your purpose. Your people, yes, Ambassador, she said automatically. Transmit your complete findings within 1 Earth rotation. Krell ordered, then prepare for extraction. The Council has decided your mission will conclude in 7 Earth days. A replacement observer has been assigned. The news struck Zara like physical force 7 days. Her time on Earth nearly finished. A replacement coming to continue observation, or perhaps to advance whatever secret research Jake had discovered. I understand, she said though. She did not really. Krell studied her through the screen. Zara, you were selected for this mission because of your exceptional objectivity, your loyalty to our principles. Do not disappoint the Council. Do not disappoint our people. The transmission ended, leaving Zara staring at the blank device. 7 days to decide where her true loyalty lay. 7 days to discover the truth about Council experiments. 7 days to determine what information to share and what to withhold. 7 days with Jake. She found him in the genetics laboratory examining the same modified human DNA samples he'd shown her earlier. He looked up as she entered, his expression shifting from concentration to concern. The Council has ordered my return to Homeworld, she said. Without preamble, I have 7 Earth days to complete my mission. Jake set down his equipment, absorbing this news. Did they say why standard rotation? She lied. Then because lying to him felt wrong. She added, a replacement has been assigned. His eyes sharpened. I see, he said. And will you tell them what we discovered? Will you report our suspicions about genetic experimentation? Zara moved closer, lowering her voice though she had scanned the room for surveillance devices. Show me everything you know about these experiments. First, I need complete information. Jake nodded, activating security protocols that would prevent electronic eavesdropping. For the next hour, he presented evidence collected by human researchers, genetic modifications in human subjects, across different continents, subtle changes that enhanced immune response, improved cellular regeneration, extended potential lifespan, all bearing technological signatures, matching Council methodologies. This has been happening for at least 15 years, he explained. Possibly longer. The modifications appear benign, even beneficial, but they were done without consent, without knowledge. A clear violation of sovereignty. The pattern was undeniable. The techniques sophisticated beyond human capability. The ethical violation extreme. If Jake was right, someone from the Council had authorized experimental genetic modification of an emerging species without oversight, without permission, without her knowledge. Despite her observer status, why, Jake asked, after she had examined all evidence. Why would your people do this? Zara had been considering the same question. The modifications themselves offered a clue. They weren't random, but carefully designed to enhance human survival capability. Human evolution. Accelerated through targeted intervention. But to what end? There are divisions within the Council, she said slowly. Some believe emerging species should develop naturally without interference. Others believe guided evolution prevents destructive paths. The evidence suggests the interventionist faction has been conducting field experiments, testing theories about directed evolution. Jake absorbed this, his expression darkening. So we're lab subjects to them. Not to all of us, Zara said. The Council has strict ethical protocols for contact with emerging species. If these experiments are real, they violate our most sacred principles, unless the principles themselves have changed, Jake suggested, unless what you've been taught differs from actual Council policy. The possibility had occurred to her. What if her understanding of Council ethics was deliberately incomplete? What if observer training included carefully constructed falsehoods designed to maintain plausible deniability? The thought was disturbing, challenging everything she believed about her civilization. I need to access our secure database, she said. Find out who authorized these projects. Trace the command structure. But how? Jake asked. Your communications are monitored. Your access is limited. Zara hesitated, then made a decision that crossed yet another line. I have emergency protocols override codes. She revealed what no observer should share with research subjects. Methods to bypass normal security channels, access restricted Council archives. Directly, Jake stared at her. "You would risk that for us? Not just for humans," she said. "For truth. For the principles my people claim to uphold. For what I believed we stood for." His hand touched hers briefly, a gesture of solidarity, understanding gratitude. The contact sent warmth through her fingers up her arm to that secondary heart that fluttered whenever he was near. She didn't pull away. Together, they developed a plan Zara would access the secure database during facility night cycle when fewer humans were present to notice unusual activities. Jake would ensure security systems experienced convenient malfunctions, creating blind spots in surveillance. Their collaboration felt natural, complementary, their different knowledge and skills combining effectively. That night, as most humans slept, Zara activated emergency protocols on her communication device, connecting directly to the Council mainframe light years away, yet instantly accessible through technology. Humans hadn't yet discovered she entered override codes assigned only for extreme diplomatic emergencies, codes that would trigger alerts eventually, but hopefully give her enough time to find answers. The database opened before her, a vast repository of Council knowledge, normally filtered for observer access. Now she could see everything. Records of Council decisions, voting patterns, committee assignments, research authorizations. She searched for genetic modification projects, finding hundreds, but only one involving Earth Project Genesis, authorized 15 years earlier by a special committee, led by her own supervisor, Ambassador Krell. The stated purpose: adaptation acceleration to prepare humanity for environmental challenges. The unstated purpose: testing theoretical models for guided evolution of pre-Council species. Zara downloaded all files related to Project Genesis, storing them in her device's secure memory. Even as she worked, she composed the report she would send to the Council, not the complete truth that would trigger immediate containment protocols preventing her from helping Earth. Not complete falsehood. Her loyalty wouldn't permit that. But a careful blend, truth shaped to protect what mattered most. As dawn approached, she finalized her transmission balancing. On the knife edge between deception and revelation, she reported human technological progress, research capabilities, diplomatic potential, all accurate, all verifiable. She mentioned genetic anomalies discovered in human populations, suggesting environmental causes requiring further study. Not false, but not complete truth. A space between lies where she could maneuver. She transmitted the report just as the facility began waking for a new day. Then she sought out Jake, finding him in the cafeteria, pretending casual conversation while they shared information in low voices. "It's worse than we thought," she told him. "The project was authorized at highest levels. My own supervisor leads it." Jake absorbed this, his face grim. "So the entire Council knows?" "No," she said. "Only a special committee. The full Council hasn't voted on human intervention. The project operates in shadows outside normal protocols." "Small comfort," Jake said. "If your people will do this, what else might they do?" The question haunted her. The same civilization that taught her ethics principles, respect for all sentient life, was secretly experimenting on humans. The contradiction threatened everything she believed. What else didn't she know? What other secrets lay buried in Council archives? For 3 days, Zara continued her official research while secretly working with Jake to understand the full scope of Project Genesis. They identified patterns in genetic modifications, traced distribution. Zara stood before Director Campbell and Olivia in the Secure Communications Center, her future hanging on decisions made in this moment. They knew everything. Her unauthorized database access, her discovery of Project Genesis, her carefully edited report to the Council, and most damaging, her growing connection to Jake, a human research subject. "What do you want from me?" she asked, keeping her voice steady despite the turmoil within. Campbell gestured to a chair. "Please sit, Ambassador." "This may be a long conversation." Zara sat, maintaining proper posture, hands folded in her lap, a position of formal diplomacy that felt hollow now. Her mission was compromised, her loyalty divided, her heart conflicted. Everything she'd believed about herself, her people, her purpose now uncertain. "We want the same thing you do," Olivia said. Truth, justice, protection for Earth. You can't know what I want, Zara replied. Campbell smiled slightly, a sharp expression without warmth. We monitored your access to the Council. Database Ambassador. We know exactly what files you viewed, downloaded, stored. We know you discovered Project Genesis authorized by Ambassador Krell. We know you chose not to report the full truth to the Council. The humans' technological capability. Surprised Zara again. They shouldn't be able to track Council communications, decode quantum encryption access, secure channels. Yet somehow they had, perhaps with help from previous observers, perhaps through their own ingenuity, she had underestimated them. The Council had underestimated them. A dangerous miscalculation. What will you do with this information, she asked. That depends on your next choice, Campbell said. In 3 days your replacement arrives. On your homeworld, the Council awaits your return. The question is, what will you tell them when you arrive? What will your final report contain? Zara considered her options carefully. The truth would trigger immediate containment protocols. The Council would isolate Earth, restrict human expansion, limit technological development. Perhaps even reverse the genetic modifications with unknown consequences for affected humans. Lies might protect Earth temporarily, but eventually the Council would discover human awareness of their experiments. The outcome might be worse, I don't know, she admitted. Campbell leaned forward. Ambassador Zara, you stand at a crossroads between worlds. Your people have violated their own principles, experimented on mine without consent. Your loyalty to them conflicts with your commitment to truth. Your feelings for Dr. Mason complicate everything further. Zara felt exposed, vulnerable. Her inner turmoil visible to these perceptive humans who saw more than she'd intended to reveal. We offer a third option, Olivia, said an alliance, Earth and Zara, working together to ensure justice, accountability, transparency. Explain, Zara said. Campbell activated a screen displaying complex data analysis. Human intelligence agencies have identified 17 other observer missions, currently active on Earth. We have monitored all transmissions, intercepted communications, developed comprehensive understanding of Council operations, some less ethical than others. The revelation stunned Zara. 17 observers, each reporting different aspects of human development, each potentially unaware of others' missions. Each piece of a puzzle the Council assembled in secret, while individual observers believed they served noble scientific purpose. How, she whispered, how could humans achieve such technological capability without Council awareness? Olivia smiled. We had help, she said, previous observers who chose Earth over Council deception, individuals from your world, and others who recognized injustice and stood against it. You aren't the first to face this choice, Zara. Just the most important, the implication was clear. Other aliens had defected, choosing to help humanity rather than report to their superiors. The Council didn't know, perhaps couldn't comprehend, that their own people might turn against them, might choose principles over loyalty, might connect with humans in ways that transformed perspective. What exactly do you propose? Zara asked. Campbell outlined the plan. Zara would return to her homeworld as scheduled. She would deliver her final report to the Council, a carefully crafted document revealing enough truth to trigger investigation, but shaped to protect Earth from immediate containment. She would use her position to advocate for human sovereignty, for recognition of rights, for accountability regarding unauthorized experiments. Meanwhile, on Earth, human scientists would continue working with genetic data, developing countermeasures should the Council attempt harmful interventions. The alliance would grow stronger. With each converted observer, each shared technology, each step toward galactic equality rather than Council dominance. It's dangerous, Zara said. When the Council discovers my deception, when not, if Campbell noted, they will discover eventually. Yes, but by then the alliance will be stronger, Earth better protected. The truth impossible to contain. And my people? Zara asked. What happens to them? Olivia's expression softened. We don't seek revenge, Ambassador. We seek justice. Systems that allowed these violations, must change. Individuals who authorized experiments must face consequences, but your civilization itself. We have no quarrel with those who uphold true principles. The plan was bold, dangerous, filled with unknown variables, uncertain outcomes. Zara calculated. Possibilities weighed risks, considered alternatives. Yet beneath the logical analysis, emotions flowed stronger than she'd ever permitted. The sense of rightness, of purpose, of belonging somewhere between worlds, neither fully of her people, nor fully of Earth, but something new. Something necessary, and Jake, she asked finally, allowing herself to acknowledge what mattered most. Campbell and Olivia exchanged glances. Dr. Mason has been informed of our discussion. Olivia said he's waiting to speak with you when you've made your decision. Decision. The word seemed inadequate for the transformation required. The council had raised her, taught her, trained her, shaped her entire understanding of the universe. To stand against them meant reimagining herself, her purpose, her future. Yet to stand with them meant betraying principles that mattered, truths that deserved protection, feelings she could no longer deny. I need time, she said. Of course. Campbell stood. Our offer remains open until your departure. You know where to find us, alone in her quarters. Zara activated privacy protocols, blocking surveillance as best she could. She needed solitude, clarity, space to think without observation. She removed her formal ambassador uniform for the first time since arriving on Earth, letting the living fabric pool at her feet. Standing in simple undergarments, she felt lighter, less confined by expectations. The communication device on her desk blinked with incoming council transmissions, reports to complete, preparations for departure, instructions for her replacement. She ignored them all. Instead, she accessed the files she'd downloaded about Project Genesis, studying them again, seeking understanding. The genetic modifications themselves were benign, enhancing human immune response, extending potential lifespan, improving cellular regeneration. The intent seemed positive: preparation for environmental challenges, space travel, eventual council contact. But the method: intervention without consent, experimentation without knowledge, violation of the very principles the council claimed to uphold. A soft tone indicated someone at her door. Zara slipped into a simple robe before pressing the access panel. Jake stood in the corridor, his expression a complex mixture of emotions she was learning to read. May I come in, he asked. She stepped aside, allowing him to enter, knowing this too violated protocol, knowing she no longer cared. The door closed behind him, creating a small space, separate from facility politics, council expectations, galactic concerns. Just two beings from different worlds facing impossible choices. Campbell told me about their offer. Jake said, they want you to be a double agent. Pretend loyalty to the council while actually working for Earth. Zara nodded. It's the logical solution. Maintains my access to council information while protecting human interests. Jake moved closer. Is that what you want, to be caught between worlds? Loyal to neither, trusted by none? The question pierced her careful analysis, revealing the emotional cost of such a choice. Perpetual deception, constant vigilance, never belonging fully anywhere, always divided. I want truth, she said. Simply, I want my people to honor their principles, acknowledge their mistakes, correct their course. I want Earth protected, respected, recognized for its potential. I want. She stopped, unable to speak the final truth, the most dangerous one. What Jake pressed gently. His hand found hers, blue fingers against tan. The now familiar warmth spreading through her nervous system. I want this, she whispered. This connection, this feeling, this possibility between different species, different worlds. He smiled slightly, drawing her closer. This scares your council more than anything. Our capacity to connect, to form bonds across species, to change each other through relationship. That's why they experiment from distance, observe without engaging. They fear what happens when worlds truly meet. Zara knew he was right. The council feared human unpredictability, human emotion, Human connection feared the transformation that might occur when different species truly engaged, not as observer and subject, but as equals, as individuals capable of changing each other. The Council preferred control distance hierarchy, power maintained through separation.